All right, welcome to the third installment. Welcome to the third installment of my stable to overstable 7-speed fairway series here, where I'm kind of going through my whole collection, seeing if we can find the best in this series. Last time we looked at the T-Bird clones. First time we looked at some that had a little bit more turn to them. Got a fun round this time. We are gonna look at the old Innova Eagle. So this is obviously the new Eagle. In the first round, we technically had the Exodus, which is the old Eagle L mold, which they just reproduced. If I can get a hold of one, I might do another one where we can kind of look at the Eagle L. But for now, this is the new version of the Eagle. And this is the Barsby Proto Glows from, I think, 22. I want to say 22 or 23, but these are normally considered one of the most stable versions of it. Really, really solid Eagle. And then I have a Champ Eagle from the Calvin collection. I had a Calvin stamp from Flight Factory, but this was kind of a replacement from, shout out Reaper. I lost my Flight Factory one. So we got the classic Eagle, where I've got another one that's kind of similar to the Exodus. This is the Dynamics Discs Evader. And this is an ice orbit Evader. This is kind of a little bit different of a mold than the Explorer. This is a little bit more of a flatter wing without the nose bead, but it's labeled as like a negative 0.5 fade, but a 2.5 turn, but a 2.5 fade. So it should be very, very similar flight to an Eagle. This is in this nice ice orbit. This is a little beat in. I couldn't find the Evader in another plastic. So I was gonna do 2 plastics of every disc this time because I happen to have some. But instead, I'm also gonna throw in the Discmania Instinct. This was my very first tournament ace, was an Instinct on a 275-foot hole or 280-foot hole, pure hyzer. Love the Instinct. We threw the FD1. This one kind of got a little underrated in the lineup. Eagle was throwing these when he was with Discmania. They are not quite a T-Bird clone. They maybe feel a little bit faster. They have maybe a micro nose bead, but not the same as like the FD1. They are just a touch shallower, but they are a really, really solid fairway and really underrated. And I kind of hope they keep the Instinct around. I know they did produce them in C-Line for one of the mystery boxes. So hopefully that mold sticks around. I think it does complement the FD1 a little bit. I think this is kind of more like the Skywalker run, where it's a little bit straighter. But this particular one, the Simon Lizotte stamp, I bought after I retired my ace disc, and this one's pretty stable, so we'll see. And then finally, oh yeah, we got probably my current favorite in this whole genre right now. We got the Clash Cookie. Loving Clash plastic. The steady ring feels amazing in the cold. And then this is the Sunny version. This is the James Proctor one. Just a super solid, super comfy 7-speed, and a different shape, a little bit more comfortable wing than most of like the T-Bird and Eagle clones. Just really loving the hand feel of them and the flight. These are a little bit more on the overstable side. So we'll kind of see how those compare. And then last but not least, the beef of the beef in this category, we got the Resistor. We've got kind of a normal beefy Neutron one. Not the most overstable version, but pretty solid version. And then we got the new Eagle McMahon Team Series from the Pro Shop, the Eclipse, the absolute beefcake version. And we'll say this is kind of on the uppermost end of this. It's hard to find some this stable. These Barsby ones were kind of supposed to be that really overstable. There's a few other molds that most of them are out of production. And I find it interesting that there's really not a whole lot more really overstable molds in this category of disc. And I love the Resistor. Eagle loves it. We use them very differently. I use mine as kind of a utility fairway. Very similar. It's like a baby Firebird. It really does exactly what like a Fireball or a Firebird do, just slower and shorter, which is really good because it kind of replaces overstable mids in my bag, just because it's more comfortable overall. But all right, let's get to throwing here. And this is hole 1 here, or well, it's technically hole 5 here at Lou Miller. I like to start here. If you've seen this series before, 285 straight ahead. I like to throw kind of right at the tree flat with a little bit of power, like 80% power, just to see kind of how the movement on these is and how these would work for kind of the standard arm power for most players in the beginning to lower intermediate levels. And like I said, these make a really, really good driver. And you've seen like Calvin throw the Eagles on like 400 plus foot holes and just absolute money. So you can put power on them. Barsby will flick them. Really solid discs. Kind of something in this category I feel like should be a staple in almost every player's bag. And it's something that I really neglected for a long time when I got to the speed where, oh, I can use drivers. You can use these for so much more holes than you would think you can and get similar distance with better control. All right, and here is the Glory, just kind of flat at the tree. Yep, and it just gets to hyzer really fast, but that's really solid. All right, and here's the Barsby Eagle. Oh yeah, sit a little bit short. It's also pretty overstable. Really nice line though, that's really solid. Here is the Champ Eagle. Oh, a little wide. That's nice, it's gonna skip. Oh, got left inside the tree. I pulled it a little bit, but it's almost perfect. All right, here is the Instinct. Oh man, sometimes it acts really stable. That had just a touch of hyzer out of my hand. Just a touch of hyzer. All right, here's the Evader. Oh yeah, little height on it, go in the basket. Whew. Oh yeah, super solid. That had a touch of height and hyzer, but yeah, very solid. So if you just miss your angle just subtly, they just don't move a whole lot and they give you really nice finishes. All right, here's the Sunny Cookie. Ooh, pulled that a little wide, but it's really stable. Oh yeah, go, oh my gosh. What the, wow, that was a crazy flare. All right, I'm gonna go with the Cookie, the Steady Ring Cookie. Oh, way inside, gosh. I overcorrected for that other one being super outside. That's annoying, that's on me. All right, and now the Resistors. Here is the normal neutron one. Slightly straighter for a resistor, I think. Yeah, but look at that. I even did that wide. Gets the hyzer. Absolutely parked. So nice. It's the reason why Eagle loves these things. You can really mash on them, and they just kind of do that. This one, I think I'd actually have to anhyzer this to get it there. Oh, I threw that super hard and I touch a flex and it got to flat immediately and fought out and dumped way short. I threw that so hard. That disc is bunkers. It's a baby flat top Fireball or Firebird, FAF Firebird in a 6.5 speed. So if you like those, try that bad boy because it is nuts. Like that's gonna go probably in my bag for when I go down to sea level. And then like the resistors are kind of, everything I think in my bag is gonna move down like a peg. And I've got kind of, starting to kind of build like what I want as like the overstable version of everything. and the bottom understable stuff in my bag will probably just kind of drop out. That's like the easiest way, I think, to build a lower elevation bag. But we'll see. Obviously, some of them you have to throw at those altitudes to get that same finish. But all right, these are all really good. I got the resistor there, but holy crap, did I have to yank that thing. Some of them went long. Like I said, the Glory and the Eagle, pretty overstable. The other Eagle pushed really good through. Look at that resistor. Actually went deep. And this Proctor cookie with this insane flare, almost nothing outside of C1, which is really solid. And that's one of the advantages of throwing these type of discs, is they just don't move a whole lot and they leave you in really good spots. Like this Instinct, slightly inside on hyzer, but really nice. I mean, some of these were slightly outside on hyzer, some of these are cranked over on. Like I said, even this one that I cranked way over got inside the tree and gave us a little short finish. Oh, man. And even with the flares, they just don't flare that much. There we go. There's 7 for 7 birdies. Easy as they do it. Don't even need putters when they're this accurate. So, yeah, solid group of discs. Let's get them under some power and see how they do. Okay, now we're actually at hole 1 here, and we're in 342 straight ahead. What I like to do is kind of throw it kind of right at that middle light post there, kind of toward that pine tree on the right, the further pine tree, and either try to split in between them or get just inside, and usually leaves us in pretty good position for this. So this is a very solid distance for me now for these. This is about the distance I really like these, because I can kind of power them up and they don't move a whole lot and they finish solidly, and it shows that you can kind of put some power into these. So like I said, I'll try to hit these flat again with a little bit more power. I'm actually really trying to go in between that light post and the tree with the subtle fade at the end. All right, we'll start out with the Champ Eagle. Yep, just like that. Just a very subtle flip up. That's really good. A little short. I had a little bit nose up hyzer on it with the Barsby Eagle here. These Barsby Eagles, even this one's pretty beat in. It's still really stable. See if I can grip this plastic a little bit better here. Yeah, there we go. That's good release. Look at that. Oh, okay. 2 holes down, 2 skinny things hit. Man, I thought that was perfect. If it misses the pole, that is like dead solid perfect. That's hilarious though that I hit that. I've thrown a ton of these and I don't think I've ever hit it. I finally did. Go figure. All right, but that was gonna be absolutely perfect. That was coming in, I think, either just inside of it or just outside of it. I'm having a little trouble gripping that plastic. All right, here is the Evader. Are you playing again? Yeah. You can play through. There we go, there's the Evader. Very nice, exactly what I'm looking for. That has a really nice push to it. And that is pretty much parked. All right, now we got the Lat 64 Glory here. Oh, so wide, but it's so stable. That actually should be pretty good. If I get a nice skip. Oh yeah, solid. All right, and we'll go with the cookies. There's the Steady Ring cookie. Yeah, that's exactly the line I want. Solid fade. Gets down pretty early. Like I said, they're pretty overstable. And we'll go with the Clash. This is the James Proctor version of the cookie. That's really nice. And so that one's pretty stable. That Proctor version. All right, next we'll go with the Instinct, the old Simon Lizotte stamp on it. All right, a couple of these are a little hyzered a little bit, so see if I can get these flat. Get a good release on them here. Oh, a little inside, but that thing, super straight, nice little fade at the end. All right, missed the line on that one. Not too bad though. All right. And then I don't know if I can actually get the resistors there, but we'll try. Here's the resistors. Yep. Solid, wide, really good, really heavy fade on these. And then there's no way I'm getting this glow in there, but give it a good bid. It's about as flat and solid as I can get it. And look at it get to the ground so fast. That thing is so beefy. Beefy, it's crazy. Both cookies are pretty stable. The Steady Ring one, even though it's a little more domey, is also very overstable. I've actually been kind of bagging two from this series. I've been bagging that Steady Ring, and I've been bagging the iDog, the eDoog, because K1 and Steady Ring feel incredible in the cold. And I've had a couple like rated around C tiers, and it's been snowy and windy and stuff. And so the eDoog is really straight. It's a little bit straighter and pushy, and the cookie is different enough that it kind of fits a different slot in the bag. So having those two along with a resistor, it's like 3 steps in this range. And you can see like this glow resistor got absolutely nowhere, and I mushed that thing. Oh, this so sad. This eagle was gonna be so good. The rest of these are kind of peppered around the circle. Like I said, I kind of hyzered a little bit too much on a few of them, a little bit inside compared to the T-Bird clones. Like I said, both cookies over here. The Glory was really good. The Evader though is the one that's parked, and it is probably the straightest out of the bunch. Although this Instinct is exactly pin high, just skipped a little left. I think had the Instinct been on the right line, it might have been right here with the Evader. But this Glory is really nice as well. It's also very overstable. This Glory is kind of right there with the cookies, but it has a bit more of a T-Bird feel to it. It's got that kind of nose bead, so it's very overstable comparatively. It's such a good slot to have in anyone's bag, and there's a ton of these discs that, like, I don't know, there's no reason not to have this type of disc in your bag for pretty much any level, even beginner. These are going to be a solid overstable and forehand disc, because they won't crutch your forehand, because they don't handle a huge ton of torque, but yet they're pretty stable. So, all right, here we are at hole 2. We got the 295 up on the hill, plays a lot longer. I'm gonna try to go, normally I've been hyzering these, but these all do the same, pretty much the same thing on a bit of a hyzer, even on a forehand. Some of them will flip up if I get a little too much wobble on them, but they're all just gonna finish short left. So I accidentally flexed a few of these last time. So I'm actually gonna go a little straighter at the pin and try to get these on a touch of flex and see if we can't get there and see if these hold up. And I'll try to be smooth. My forehand's been better, so. Oh, look at that nice little flex on the Eagle. All right, there's that Champ Eagle. Super solid, a little short, but it handled the flex as long as you're fairly smooth with it, but I'm getting better. I'm losing a little bit of flutter when I slow down and get really smooth and really focus on my follow through here. So we'll follow that with the Barsby Eagle. Like, these things are kind of money on a forehand. People absolutely love these versions of the Eagle for forehand. Oh, cranked over on it, but it fought out. All right, safe. Man, I cranked over on that quite a bit. All right, here's the Instinct. Need to get these a little more at the basket here since I'm not hyzering. There we go, just a subtle flex. And it fought back right there with the other Eagle. That Instinct, the Instinct is a really solid disc, and Evo feels really good. All right, here is the Proctor cookie. This feels very good on forehand because it's so flat. These cookies are really solid, and they're pretty overstable as well. Little nose up, but that's really nice. Like, yeah, way short because I threw it kind of nose up. And we'll try to follow that with the steadier ring, see if I can get it a little more nose down. There we go. A little more flex. It's gonna be a little too wide, but it fought out really nicely, and that was low with the flex. Pin high, just way left. I have a hard time getting these on the right line. My forehand is still very, very much a work in progress. I need to know if I'm flexing to aim quite a bit more right. All right, we'll see if this evader, this evader is pretty straight. I don't think it'll handle the flex very well. So I'm gonna start it a lot more to the right. Ooh, it's flattening out. It's doing okay. That had a pretty harsh angle on it, but it's right there at the Eagles. It's solid. Like, it really feels very similar to the Exodus, which is the Eagle L. So, all right, we'll try the Glory. They're not the greatest forehand. We have a better forehand hole coming up. But here's the Glory. Oh my gosh. Oh, I yanked that. I yanked that big time. Wow. And it's still like, it didn't burn over into the water, thankfully. Wow, gosh, I'm getting worse. All right, here's the Resistors. These can actually handle some yankage. Oh man. And these are by far the most comfortable. MVP fairways are just absolute money forehand discs. Yeah, look at that. Probably the best throw overall also, but they just handle it so much better. This one I can really dump over on. Look at how much angle I gave, and look at it fight back. It's so overstable. That's gonna be my resistor when I go to sea level. Because it's so beefy. It's insane. I can flex the crap out of it. It's like a baby fireball. It just is. Or a baby flat Firebird for you other folks, or Felon, or whatever you throw for your 9-speed slot. If you want a slower one that doesn't go as far, dude, the Resistors are amazing. They are. Man, I got them pin high. I'm getting the distance right. I'm just not getting the angle right. But the fact that these all recovered is quite nice. All right, we'll see if they can handle a little bit backhand flex. See, the ones that were a little short, they were slightly nose up, and I have to get a little extra turn. Like I said, I think if I can get the angle right, I can actually push these quite a bit further. But we'll see. I don't know, something about the angle of this T-pad. I never throw these really well on forehand, so we'll get a better, kind of more flat, low forehand coming up. But now we're gonna test them on just a subtle flex. Okay, we got hole 3 here, another 340, but like I said, this one, you like to bend it because the best access to the pin is kind of coming in from the right, either under the tree or slightly around it. But we've got this tree on the right to deal with, so we can't really do a full hyzer. So really wanna start it right at the pin on a subtle flex, let it push right, come back, baby flex on these. Should be really solid for these discs. These technically should have a little bit more movement than the T-Bird runs because these technically have like -1 turn. All right, I'd let a couple people get through here. We'll start out with the Calvin Eagle here. Like I said, we just want to get it just subtle flex See if it holds the flex, pulls to the right. Just a tiny bit. Yeah, yeah. Oh, very nice. All right, so yeah, either we get on the inside or the outside of the tree is what we're looking for. That, I thought that would actually drift a little bit more, but it had a really nice subtle movement, nice comeback. These just have maybe just a touch more movement than the T-Bird styles, like they're supposed to. So here is the Barsby Eagle. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I pulled that one over a little bit. Okay, it's I don't know, I can't see the finish. It got back to flat, so we might get a good flare on that, but I did pull that a little bit, kind of under that branch. That was way right. I kind of do that sometimes when I'm trying to get this subtle flex. I just pull over a little bit. Sometimes it's my body alignment. All right, here's the Instinct. There we go. Very nice. That had a little more angle than I wanted, but that's kind of, it got back to flat again. That's another one that I don't know how it's gonna finish. All right, now we'll go with the Cookies. Here's the James Proctor. The very flat, pretty overstable, a little bit more so than the Steady Ring, but they're both pretty overstable. There we go, that's perfect. That's the angle right there. Oh yeah. That is gonna skip up right into the circle. That's exactly what I want. And like I said, these just come out of the hand so well. Follow it up with the Steady Ring. Yep, solid. That's got a little more air under it, and that's gonna be really good. That's gonna be pin high just left. All right, here is the Evader. There we go, really nice. Yep, that's the flight you want. So it's just a touch inside, but we got the inside gap. So, I mean, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. And then we'll go with the Resistors. Here's the Neutron with this cool spider stamp from Infinite. This was their Black Friday special run here. Oh, yep. Look at that. So holds the angle, fights out. That's gonna flare. Gonna be right there with the James Proctor one. All right, now see if we can, I doubt I can get this there, but we'll see, we'll try our best. This is the absolute beef boy, because even that other one I think is probably gonna be short, a little shorter than the rest of these. They just don't penetrate as much. Oh, gosh, it just fights out right away and gets to the ground. I didn't even make it to the sidewalk. That thing is so ridiculous. It's wild. And compared to the Glory, and the Glory is very kind of T-Bird-like. It's just more overstable than a T-Bird. But let's see if we can hit this Glory. Yes, there's the angle. That's so good. And come out, fight out. All right, again, another one of those, I can't see the finish. But it was getting back to flat, so at worst, it should skip straight. At best, it should get a little bit of a flare. This cold weather, man, now that the sun's going down, stuff's getting even a little straighter, I think. Probably a 5-degree drop here in the last half hour. So these are starting to get a little straighter, and my Eagle is very beat in. I bagged that Eagle for quite a bit. It was kind of something I was using for flex forehands up in the mountains. Oh, dang, the Instinct might have got eaten. Oh, yep, too low. I thought this Instinct was actually really good, but too low, it got eaten a little bit. That is unfortunate. Everything else, really solid. Just a little too low with the Instinct. But you can see it was on almost the same line as like the Eagle and stuff. It's pretty stable and pretty pushy. I haven't thrown it real great yet, but the glow resistor didn't even get close. But we've got Eagle and the Evader. We have the Proctor cookie, other cookie pushed a little further. I mean, I got the other resistor close. I mean, that was just about the best perfect line. And see, the Glory did come back. So both the cookie and the Glory did come back and get some flare and are just on the edge of the circle. The Eagle, not quite as much, unfortunately, but I pulled this way right. And it didn't seem to hurt it too much. So, and this I think had the harshest angle. So not too bad overall. I mean, like, this is what's kind of nice about these. Even the ones I miss, the Eagle with that bad of a miss was still kind of circle 2-ish, like mid to deep circle 2, which is fine. Like, it's not great, but at least, like, if you're trying to get this with a flippy disc sometimes and get this kind of turn and then come back, it can be, you can have a lot worse finishes. And again, like, as I said in the other video, this is not actually typically what I would throw on this hole. I think just a little more faster of a disc, like a Thunderbird, it just behaves a slight better. I can throw the angle a little harsher, like I did with that Eagle, and even pull it a little bit, and it'll skip back. It'll flex and flare a little bit more than these. These are designed not to move much, which makes them trying these shots like in the woods, long tunneling shots, really good, because they just don't move all that far and they don't have harsh skippy finishes nearly as much though as a faster, like a Thunderbird type of disc. Okay, now we go back to some forehands. We're back here, hole 4. We got 280. We got a low. We got to get under the invisible branch here and then get a nice skip left is kind of our goal. And since this is the Barsby special, we'll start off with the Barsby Eagle. I got these pretty good in the T-Bird comparison. See if I can kind of continue that forehand with this nice, smooth, low forehand. Yep. Oh yeah. That was a little underpowered, so that's a little short, but the exact flight we were looking for, very solid. I had to let a guy through again. It's getting pretty cold here, but all right, let's keep this train rolling. We'll go with the Champ Eagle here. See if we can't Calvin this in there. We Barsby'd one up there. See if we can't Calvin one up there. That's nice. Yeah, around the tree, not bad. It didn't get as much flare. That has a little bit of turn to it, I think, when you torque it just a little bit. I think it's just a touch more turn than the Barsby one or the cookies. All right, here is the Instinct. Oh, a little high, but that's not too bad. That Instinct is not super torque resistant, but it held up nicely. That one I just kind of scooped it just a touch. But man, if it's flat, I don't know if it's gonna get back. It might just go dead straight for a long time. I think similarly to this Evader, I think they're both a touch straighter than the rest of this lot. Yeah, see, quite a bit more turn. It's gonna recover and finish pretty nicely. Like I've actually got like 3 or 4 in that same spot with different flights. It's wild. Here's the Glory. Ooh, I pulled that a little bit with the angle, but look at it fight back and get a good flare. That's solid. For how bad I threw that kind of saved me. That Glory is really solid. I think some of those other T-Bird clones would not hold up from that. It's definitely a little bit more stable than most of the last video. Okay, here is the Cookie. the James Proctor cookie. Yep. Exactly what you want. Didn't get the biggest flare, but that was super solid. Straight, nice finish. Right on the edge of circle. Follow that up with the steady ring. Oh, similar, even better. That's gonna flare up and be even closer. Gosh, the steady ring one might be more stable. I'm not sure. This is what these resistors were born for. That even has a little touch of flex, and it's getting back around the tree, all the way up into circle one. Very nice. And like I said, that might be straighter than some of my other resistors I've had. Definitely not as beefy as this guy. Most resistors I think are a touch more stable than that one. But this one is way more stable. Oh, God. Look at how fast that fights back. It's so nuts. That disc is insane. It's just insane. The nice thing about that disc though is, like I said, I can flex it and it's just not gonna burn over. It's not gonna, it's gonna come back. So it's kind of useful. Like I said, I use it more in short hyzer approaches that are like longer than an approach disc, you know. Like it said, you can spike hyzer with a forehand at the same distance where you might throw a overstable mid. They both kind of do overstable mid things for me, and they just overlap so much with that slot that I don't really need like a beefy mid, like anything like that Justice or anything, because these are just more comfortable in the hand and do better things. All right, so the Barsby was a little bit short. I just didn't get quite good release on it, but everything else was pretty solid. I mean, we got the cookies, both came inside the tree. Everything else pushed a little outside the tree and around the backside. We got the Glory right on the backside. And the resistor, just absolute money. And this one, like I said, this one's pushy. And that's the nice thing about it. They just have more finish than a typical 7-speed fairway than any of these other ones. Like I said, I've never thrown like the Triple X, or I think there's like, I don't know, maybe a Banshee or something else, but they're not really that many in production that are more overstable than these. All right, there you have it. There's what most likely might be the final in the stable to overstable series. If I can find enough to make another run, I included a couple in these that I was just gonna do 2 of each of some of these, but I kind of wanted to get a couple more of these in here, like the Instinct and the Evader. And like originally this was kind of these more overstable ones with the Glory versus kind of like the Resistors and the Cookies. But these are all really solid discs. I mean, the Eagle is classic. Like I said, I just had a little trouble with this plastic in the cold. It's not super grippy, but you can see the Champion one when I get a little more on it and a little bit better release. They get that nice push with a solid fade. A little different flight than the T-Bird, but not all that different. It just kind of depends on what you prefer hand feel wise. They're a little different in the hand. Similar like the Cookies, but these Cookies are just a little bit more stable. I think they just don't turn a whole lot, which I really like. And like I said, that kind of fits a little bit more stable of a spot in my bag. Whereas like I have something like those Votems or iDogs, which have a little bit more turn, or even something like the Evader. The Evader and the Instinct have a little bit more turn than these. So very, very solid. I've really enjoyed it. This one's beat up because it's been in my bag. Before I went to the All MVP bag, I really threw this one around a lot. I really loved these, and it kind of started a short love affair with the Ice Orbit because they were just so money, everything in that class. And the Instinct, obviously one of my first tournament aces, super solid disc, fits in really well just underneath the FD1. It's a little straighter, maybe a little bit further flying, kind of very similar to the Skywalkers. So, but I hope they keep this mold because it's a very good complement. It's just a bit straighter of a flyer than the FD1s and a little bit more comfortable in the hands for some people. And then for the lap players you saw in the last video, The escape tends to be just a little bit straighter in that T-bird mold. And this also has the same feel, the Lat 64 Glory, super solid, has that nose bead. You got the grand plastic that just feels so good in the hand. They're a touch domey, but they still handle forehand pretty well, and a bit more overstable than a typical T-bird. Super consistent. So if you like the T-bird feel, but want something that'll hold up in a little bit more headwind, maybe a little bit more torque, the Lat 64 Glory is really solid. I'm really excited to see Isaac throw the Glory and the Escape around a lot. We'll see how he does. And then, of course, the one that's been in my bag for a while is these Resistors. Like I said, they're almost a utility disc, but some versions of it, as they beat in, they get a little bit straighter, and as you get more power, like if you're a power player, these things are incredible because they have the similar flight characteristics of a Fireball or a Firebird, but yet they just don't go as far. And that's why, like, Eagle loves these things, but he uses them as a straight fairway. I use them as a really kind of left finishing, and they handle torquey forehands. They're really thin, and they just handle forehands so good, but also just tremendous on a backhand if you really put some power into them and then just, you don't have to worry about them. Just super comfortable in the hand. I think they'll make a good complement to the Cookie once the weather warms up, when I do my full kind of creating a tournament bag after I'm done with all my training and all my going through my entire collection of discs. So got a lot more coming. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about any of the 7-speeds, just drop a comment. I'll do my best to respond to everybody, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.